Good evening, Periscope. How are we? People are jumping in straight away. Kaylee's there, bang, instantly. Who else we got here? Anna's here. Hannah's here. Hannah. Who's this? Ag. Lee's here. All right, everybody. We're going to give people a few minutes to join. I'm expecting a few more people than normal because I sent an email out earlier today inviting everybody over. Let me just move this back a little bit. Fanny's here as well. Good evening. For those who don't know me, my name's Ross. I'm an actor and a voiceover artist from Manchester in the UK. I Periscope twice a week, so if this is the first time you've been on Periscope, welcome. Hey, how are we doing? Who's that? Kaylee. Hey, Warren is here as well. So this is how we roll, basically. I Periscope twice a week, at home, not in the Premier Inn, says Anna. She was in the Premier Inn last time she was watching. Archie's here as well. I scope twice a week. I scope once on a Monday, where we do something called Motivation and Mind Hacks, which are exactly that. They are little motivational hacks for yourself, productivity hacks, things that are going to help you get things done faster, be more productive, just basically change yourself, personal change for the better. Shut up, Lee. Lee's giving me loads of slack. Whatever. Good to see you. And then on Wednesday we do book club, which is tonight. Okay, so we look at a book, one book per month for 4 weeks, obviously, and we go through 4 chapters of that book. And then if you want to read the rest of the book, obviously you can get yourself over to Amazon and buy it. But this is a way to give you little nuggets, 4 chapters of a book that I've read and has really impacted my life for the better, changed my life, in some way. Mostly the books we look at have changed it in quite a big way, and I want to pass it on to you guys. So we'll give people a few minutes to join. But the book we're looking at tonight, guys, let me know if you've seen it already or anyone's ever read it before. It's called The One Thing by Gary Keller. We looked at a similar book earlier this year. Was it earlier this year, or for regulars, was it earlier this year or late last year? Essentialism we looked at by Greg McKeown, which I've got knocking about. So that's another brilliant book. Definitely check that out as well, but not this month. Just check this one out for this month. Just one, The One Thing, right? It's a book that's really going to help you and give me some hearts. For those who are new, if you like what I'm saying, you can tap the screen and it'll bring up little coloured hearts that mean absolutely nothing but make me feel that at least people are listening. If you feel like you resonate with this, so a lot of the time, do you ever feel like you're chasing your tail? Do you ever feel that you're trying to go after maybe like 10 things at once? If you're an actor, I know a lot of people who watch this go to actors because I'm an actor, but everything that we talk about applies to all walks of life. Say you're an actor and you're going, right, okay, well, I've got to get new headshots done. Oh, God, well, then I've got to update my showreel because my old headshot's at the front of my showreel. Oh, maybe I should get a new agent. Oh, I'm not getting any castings. Maybe I should write to casting directors. And you try to do like 10 things at once, 15 things at once, but you're actually just feeling very busy, but not very productive at all. So you're not actually making progress on any one of those things because you're feeling overwhelmed and you don't really know where to start. So you kind of like shift your energy from one thing to the next without finishing, without finalising. You might get into the finishing stages of something, but you never actually finalise that thing. If that is you, you're going to love this, and you should definitely just buy it without even like listening to any more. You should definitely buy it. It's a great book. Gary Keller, the author, it's actually written by 2 guys, Gary Keller with a guy called Papasan, but Gary Keller is a mega successful real estate entrepreneur in America whose business was going really well, and then it kind of stopped going very well at all. And he was looking for like reasons for why it was going suddenly quite downhill, and he himself realised, well, he got somebody in actually to kind of assess the situation, and he realised that the company was trying to focus on too many things. Verona, good evening, just seen you join as well. And he turned things around very quickly. Over the space of 4 years, he went from being a regional kind of player to a worldwide player in the real estate market, and he then wrote this book on the back of it, distilling all that information down. I'm going to go through the intro tonight. It's like 2 chapters effectively. It's only short chapters though, and then we're going to look at next Wednesday an effect that I'll call the Domino Effect, which I'll kind of touch on tonight. But it will blow your minds, guys. Literally, it will just blow your mind when you realise this thing. You'll be like, shit. what have I been doing for so long? And if you implement it into your life, things will start changing. So I'll read, if we're all ready and you're tucked into bed or whatever, or you've got your coffee. I always have a coffee for the people who are new tonight. Can you get this on replay? You can, Kaylee. So what happens is, for those who are new, you can actually watch the replay live on Periscope straight away afterwards. There's monkeys in the background. There are. I'm a big fan of monkeys. You can watch it straight away on Periscope afterwards, or I always upload these to actonthis.tv to the main site the day after. So this will actually start uploading tonight, and it'll be available to watch on actonthis.tv from tomorrow. So you'll be able to always get the replays if you missed one of these. So let's begin, guys. Right, the one thing. So it starts off with a bit of an anecdote from Gary. He says, on June the 7th, 1991, the Earth moved for 112 minutes. Not really, but it felt that way. I was watching the hit comedy City Slickers. I haven't seen it. Have you seen the film? I haven't seen it. It's a hit comedy, and I love comedy, and I haven't seen it. But he says the audience's laughter rattled and rocked the theatre. Considered one of the funniest movies of all time, it also sprinkled in unexpected doses of wisdom and insight. In one memorable scene, Curly, the gritty cowboy played by the late Jack Palance, and City Slicker Mitch, played by Billy Crystal, leave the group to search for stray cattle. Bear with me, alright, you'll get this. Although they had clashed for most of the movie, riding along together, they finally connect over a conversation about life. Suddenly, Curly reins his horse to a stop and turns in the saddle to face Mitch. Curly says, "Do you know what the secret of life is?" Mitch goes, "No, what?" "This." He holds up one finger. And Mitch goes, "Your finger?" He goes, "No, one thing. Just one thing. You stick to that, and everything else don't mean shit." Mitch goes, "Well, that's great, but what's the one thing?" And he says, "That's what you've got to figure out." And it doesn't mean the one thing in life, it means the one thing in that moment, and we'll discuss this further now. So Gary says, out of the mouth of a fictional character, to our ears comes the secret of success. Whether the writers knew it or unwittingly stumbled on it, what they wrote was the absolute truth. The one thing is the approach to getting what you want. I didn't really get this until much later, he says. I'd experienced success in the past, but it wasn't until I hit a wall that I began to connect my results with my approach. In less than a decade, we'd built a successful company with national and international ambitions, but all of a sudden, things weren't working out. For all the dedication and hard work, my life was in turmoil, and it felt as if everything was crumbling around me. I was failing. You must remember the why, and what will have a lot more impact. Absolutely, yeah, definitely. We talk about finding your why quite a lot on these scopes, and particularly in a program that I launched earlier this year called Bulletproof Actor. If you're an actor and you want to bulletproof your mindset, check it out. I'll be launching it again in June. But yeah, do you feel sometimes like Gary says there, you're working so hard, dedication, you're putting everything in, but like your life is crumbling around you, you're not getting the results that you want? Maybe it's because you're not focused on the one thing. So let's have a look. He says something had to give. At the end of a short rope that looked eerily like a noose, I sought help and found it in the form of a coach. We talk about mentors all the time, how important it is to have mentors or mastermind groups in your life. If you're not part of the Facebook group, go and join it. Facebook.com/groups/ActOnThisTV. He says, He talked his coach through his situation and talked through the challenges that I faced, both personal and professional. We revisited my goals and the trajectory I wanted for my life, and with a full grasp of the issues, he set out in search of answers. His research was thorough. When we got back together, he had my organisational chart, essentially a bird's eye view of the entire company, up on the wall. Our discussion started with a simple question. Do you know what you need to do to turn things around? I hadn't a clue, he said. He said there was only one thing I needed to do. He'd identified 14 positions that needed new faces, and he believed that with the right individuals in those key spots, the company, my job and my life would see a radical change for the better. I was shocked and let him know I thought it would take a lot more than that. Good evening, Mary, just seen you join. He said, no, Jesus needed 12. you'll need 14. Okay, it was a transformational moment. I'd never considered how so few could change so much. What became obvious is that as focused as I thought I was, I wasn't focused enough. Finding 14 people was clearly the most important thing I could do. So based on this meeting, I made a huge decision. I fired myself. I stepped down as CEO, the guy who tries to juggle all the shit all the time, and made finding those 14 people my singular focus. This time the earth really did move. Within 3 years, we began a period of sustained growth that averaged 40% year over year for almost a decade. We grew from a regional player to an international contender. Extraordinary success showed up, and we never looked back. As success begat success, something else happened along the way. The language of the one thing emerged. Having found the 14 people, I began working with our top people individually to build their careers and businesses. Out of habit, I'd end our coaching calls with a recap of a handful of things they were agreeing to accomplish before our next session. Unfortunately, many would get most of those things done, but not necessarily what mattered most. Do you do that? I've done that so many times. Results suffered, frustration followed, so in an effort to help those succeed, I started shortening my list. If you can do just 3 things this week, if you can do just 2 things this week, finally, out of desperation, I went as small as I could. What's the one thing you can do this week such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary? And the most awesome thing happened. Results went through the roof. After these experiences, I looked back at my successes and failures and discovered an interesting pattern. Where I'd had huge success, I had narrowed my concentration to one thing. And where my success varied, my focus had too. And the light came on, he says. So he talks about going small. A lot of time, as actors, as anyone in life, as human beings, we like to just think massive, don't we? Really, really huge. And it's often not the best way to approach what we want because we just get overwhelmed. That's great for me, says Anna. Focusing on the smaller things, the tiny things that we do consistently every day soon add up to those bigger things. Okay, so he talks about going small. If everyone has the same number of hours in a day, why do some people seem to get so much more done than others? How do they do more, achieve more, earn more, have more? If time is the currency of achievement, then why are some able to cash in their allotment for more chips than others? The answer is they make getting to the heart of things the heart of their approach. They go small. When you want the absolute best chance to succeed at anything you want, your approach should always be the same. Go small. Going small is ignoring all the things you could do and doing what you should do. It's recognizing that not all things matter equally and finding the things that matter most. It's a tighter way to connect to what you do, to what you want. It's realizing that extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. The way to get the most out of your work and your life is to go as small as possible. Most people think just the opposite. They think big success is time consuming and complicated. As a result, their calendars and to-do lists become overloaded and overwhelming. Success starts to feel out of reach, so they settle for less. Does that sound like you? Are you settling for less right now? Unaware that big success comes when we do a few things well. They get lost trying to do too much and in the end accomplish too little. Over time, they lower their expectations, abandon their dreams, and allow their life to get small. This is the wrong thing to make small. Don't allow your life to get small. Just the things that you're doing. Focus on the small things right now. You have only so much time and energy, so when you spread yourself out, you end up spreading yourself thin. You want your achievements to add up, but that actually takes subtraction, not addition. You need to be doing fewer things for more effect instead of doing more things with side effects. The problem with trying to do too much is that even if it works, adding more to your work and your life without cutting anything brings a lot of bad with it. Missed deadlines, disappointing results, high stress, long hours, lost sleep, poor diet, no exercise. and missed moments with family and friends, all in the name of going after something that's easier to get than you might imagine. Absolutely yes to all of this, says Fanny. Going small is a simple approach to extraordinary results, and it works. It works all the time, anywhere and on anything. Why? Because it has only one purpose: to ultimately get you to the point. When you go as small as possible, you'll be starting at one thing, and that's the point. Okay, so that's the intro to one thing. I just want to show you a little kind of sneak peek of what I want to look at on the next book club. It's something called the Domino Effect, but it's a scientific, and you know I love science. For those who aren't regular to this, everything that I try and kind of coach people on is all science-based. So it's not woo-woo, just wish for it and let's all be hippie-ish, and we're going to get it. It's like science-backed, proven positive psychology, or proven hacks that will get you results. And the domino effect is effectively, I wonder if I can show you this diagram and if you'll be able to see it. I'll read you a little thing. It says in 1983, Lorne Whitehead wrote in the American Journal of Physics that he discovered that domino falls could not only topple many things, they could also topple bigger things. Hey, it's not too woo-woo just because it's not scientifically proven. No, it's not, but I can tell you the science behind a lot of the woo-woo stuff. That's the thing. So a lot of the woo-woo stuff will work, but I like to know the reasons behind why it works, and I can tell you. So the secret, the law of attraction, I could explain it all to you through science, but I like to know that something works before I bother putting my time into it. So the domino effect, okay, he described how a single domino, and we've all played dominoes, how a single domino is capable of bringing down another domino that's actually 50% larger. Now this is the thing, alright? So you might start off knocking down a single domino that's very, very small. By knocking that down, the effect is that it actually has the kinetic energy to knock down something 50% bigger than it. That thing falls and can knock down something 50% bigger than it, which falls and can knock down something that's 50% bigger than it, okay? The diagram here is insane. It says, do you see the implication? I'll show you this. Not only can one knock over others, but also others that are successively larger. In 2001, a physicist from San Francisco's Exploratorium, sounds great, reproduced Whitehead's experiment by creating 8 dominoes out of plywood, each of which was 50% larger than the one before. The first was a mere 2 inches, the last almost 3 feet tall. The resulting domino fall began with a gentle tick and quickly ended with a loud slam. Imagine what would happen if you kept going. This is what's going to blow your mind. I'll talk about it now. We'll do a different chapter next week. This is great. Listen to this, right? If a regular domino fall is a linear progression, Whitehead's would be described as a geometric progression. The result could defy the imagination. The 10th domino would be almost as tall as an NFL quarterback. By the 18th, you're looking at a domino that would rival the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The 23rd domino would tower over the Eiffel Tower, and the 31st domino would loom over Mount Everest by almost 3,000 feet. Number 57 would practically bridge the distance between Earth and the Moon. Can you see that there? It starts off with the tiniest domino, and then by the time you get to, what's this, 18, you're looking at knocking over the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which then, by 23, could knock over the Eiffel Tower. Then we just go up to Mount Everest, and potentially up to the Moon. So by focusing initially on the single thing, it is awesome. By focusing on this one, the one thing that might only be very, very small, you don't need to worry about here. This is where you want to end up, obviously. But a lot of people just try and go from here to here. It's impossible. If you focus on the one thing that's important in your life, the push goal, so to speak. I'm really big on on goal setting, and a lot of people who've joined these scopes a lot will know a lot about that. There's generally one goal amongst your multiple goals right now that is a push goal, which will make say you've got 10 goals. I set 10 goals every new year for the year. I think I need to do catch up. I'm a bit lost, says Mary. you can catch up straight away. We're basically focusing, Mary, on, so there's a book, the book we're looking at is called The One Thing, okay, by Gary Keller, and a lot of people, what they do is they try and focus on too many things at once, and rather than making, well, you know, they have 15 things that they're focusing on right now, and they make a millimetre of progress on each one, rather than focusing on the one thing and making 15 millimetres of progress on that one thing, which would then end up making all those other 14 things much, much easier to accomplish. And ultimately, yeah, if you've got, say you've got 10 goals right now, there'll be one of those goals which, if you get done, will make all of the other 9 so much easier right now. Okay, so in your acting career, there'll be certain things you'll try to achieve right now, and a lot of people will be mucking around with everything from agents, show reels, try to get auditions, try to reach out to casting directors, all this stuff. And they'll get, like, you know, they'll send one email to a casting director, then they'll maybe look at their headshots and go, oh god, my headshots are rubbish, oh maybe I shouldn't have sent that email to the casting director, oh actually I'm going to have a look and see what my show reel's doing right now. And they scatter their energy out all over the show, rather than going, what's the one thing which is the highest point of contribution to my push goal right now, the thing that would make all the other things easier. So if my headshot is the first thing on my show reel, no point in me focusing on my show reel at night if I want to get my headshots done first, because, you know, I can't really finish my show reel off until my headshots are done, because it appears as the first thing on my show reel. Most people start off with their name and a picture of themselves. I would recommend you doing that on your show reel, because if you start off with just your name, and your name is unisex, something like Sam Jones, and your show reel opens with a scene with 3 people in it, how the do I know who Sam Jones is in that scene? I've been putting off my show reel for ages, says Anna. Well, you know, if you don't have any other things holding you up on that, then that should be your one thing right now, Anna, that you're focusing on. Not all the other stuff, just the one thing. But if you just said now headshots first, okay, if you need that, that's the one thing. But don't waste your time on other things if that's the one thing. I'm not acting yet, believe you can apply this technique to many areas. You absolutely can, 100%. If you want to get healthier, don't try and go, right, okay, well, I'm going to cut out all alcohol, all bad food, I'm going to work out 5 times a week, I'm going to run a half marathon. You can't, it's impossible. The one thing for you might be, right, I'm going to cut out bread from my diet this month, or whatever it is, and that's the one thing you focus on. And then when that's become a positive habit, there'll be something else that you can focus on, and then gradually the domino effect, bread knocks over, and you go, actually, I'm losing weight, and I'm starting to kind of be more conscious of what I'm putting into my body. I'm not going to have that bottle of wine on a Saturday night because it's going to ruin what I've just achieved this month. And then you cut out alcohol, and then you start working out, all these things. Mine's a promo video for my product. Well, yeah, you know, and if that's your one thing, don't worry about any other aspects of your business. Just focus on that before you then start, chasing other stuff as well. Jeremy's here. Hello, good evening. So I just thought that domino effect kind of like blew my mind. We'll finish with the end of this chapter. So he says, getting extraordinary results. So when you think about success, shoot for the moon. The moon is reachable if you prioritize everything and put all of your energy into accomplishing the most important thing first. Getting extraordinary results is all about creating a domino effect in your life. So that you hit that little domino over first, it can then knock over something 50% bigger than itself. That can knock over 50% bigger than itself, and so on, as we just seen. Toppling dominoes is pretty straightforward. You line them up and tip over the first one. In the real world, though, it's a bit more complicated. The challenge is that life doesn't line everything up for us. Here's where you should start. Highly successful people know this. So every day they line up their priorities, find the lead domino and whack away at that until it falls. So you don't need to worry about all your dominoes, you're just looking for your lead domino right now. Why does this approach work? Because extraordinary success is sequential, not simultaneous. That's important, I'll say it again. Extraordinary success is sequential, is not simultaneous, okay? So success follows success. You can't have it all at once. You do the right thing and then you do the next thing right. Over time it adds up and the geometric potential of success is unleashed. The domino effect applies to the big picture, like your work or your business, and it applies to the smallest moment in each day when you're trying to decide what to do next. Success builds on success, and as this happens over and over, you move towards the highest success possible. When you see someone who has a lot of knowledge, they learned it over time. When you see someone who has a lot of skills, they develop them over time. When you see someone who has done a lot, they accomplished it over time. When you see someone who has a lot of money, they earned it over time. The key is over time. Success is built sequentially. It's one thing at a time. And that's the intro to the one thing. Okay, we're going to look at another chapter next Wednesday. I don't know which chapter it'll be yet, to be honest. We'll probably, I don't know, it breaks, I don't know. There's a great chapter called Everything Matters Equally that we can look at. Love the science and facts of this. It excites me. It's great. It's when you figure this out, honestly, and you can adhere to it. I only figured this out 2 years ago properly when it came to goal setting for me, and I did a program on goal setting. I'm going to actually produce my own program on goal setting for you guys for the end of this year. And it was for me finding amongst my 10 goals for the year what that one thing was, the one goal that would make all of the other 9 easier. And for me, it was knocking out something that would bring me in a lot more finances effectively, creating a separate company that would bring in more finances more quickly to fuel a different company that I run that was going to grow more organically. There was no kind of fast forward button to play. You press on that. You know, that was just growing organically. I knew I could create a different business that would bring in more significant revenue faster, that would then enable me to invest it in this business to grow that. And then that changed everything. I finished that. I set that goal in the December. I'd completed it by the end of the January, and it changed the lot. Everything else changed. There's so much competition, but then the only person you can compete against is yourself. Very true, Anna. There is lots of competition, but a lot of the other competition will be focusing on 20 things at once and getting none of them done very well at all. I love it when I see other people trying to do what I'm doing, because I know that someone starting off now, try to create similar businesses to me, or try to, do the things that I do in all areas of my life, not just business. That, if they're trying to do it now, I've probably got like an 8-year head start on them, because it's sequential, isn't it? And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't threaten me. I don't feel kind of nervous that other people are going to do things better than me or whatever. I'm like, you know what? You go for it, because you've got kind of 8 years of figuring all this to catch up. And I say this a lot of the time. I'm all about building the biggest tower for the sake of building the biggest tower, not by knocking other people's towers down. I want to build the biggest. In all areas of my life. I want to be I want to be as healthy as I can be. I want to be as financially secure as I can be, as successful as I can be, in whatever way that means to me. Success is different for every single person. What I think is success, you will think is, success is different to that, and that's totally cool. That's what what makes us so unique. But I want my success for the sake of me having that success. I don't want that success by knocking other people's success down by going, well, I'm better by default because I've knocked down your tower. And if someone can build a bigger tower than I can, then I'm like, hats off, and I will shake you by the hand. And then I'll go out and I'll add on a few levels to my tower to make it even bigger. But I love that, competition. Look at it, Anna, as something that is so healthy. It keeps you motivated. It keeps you innovating. I think that's one thing that I don't like about this whole Brexit thing at the moment and the European Union. Being in the European Union as someone from the UK stamps out competition, because the big companies in this country are massively protected by European quotas and taxes, which effectively, so this is how it works, okay? I'm a company in the UK, I'm in the EU. I can be putting out a mediocre product for £10. Say I'm making, say I'm making a silk tie or something, right? And I'm putting it out for £10, and it's all right, but my stitching's not particularly good on it, and the finish isn't quite nice on it, and the colours aren't great or whatever. And then there's a company in China, right, who we don't have a trade agreement with in Europe, and they can make a silk tie that looks much better than mine, that's stitched much better than mine, and they can make it cheaper, so they could sell it to the UK public for say £7.50. Now what happens is, me as the company who's making a £10 product that's not as good, because I'm in the EU, I go to the European Parliament, I lobby them and I say, look, can you help me out, guys, right? This Chinese company are selling these ties over here and they're better than mine, and people aren't going to buy mine anymore because they're going to get these ones because they're cheaper and they're better. The European Parliament is mental. Goes like this: oh, all right, Ross, yeah, totally fine that, mate. Do you know what we'll do to help you out? What we'll do is, this Chinese company, for every tie that they bring into the country, we're going to charge them a tax on that. We're going to put a tariff on it. And not only that, to stamp out the competition even more, we're going to put a quota on it. We're going to put a quota to say that they can only import 1,000 of them. And that's it. So, you know, once they've sold 1,000, they can't sell any more this year. So I'm like, oh, phew, well, that's all right. They can sell 1,000 and they're not going to be as cheap as mine now anyway because they've got a tax put on them. So this Chinese company goes, oh, there's no point. There's no point in doing that at all. So it stamps out the competition. It stops me from having to innovate, from having to adapt to the market and get a better product out there. And that's what I don't like about Europe, because it stops that innovation, and it means that you keep having to buy my £10 ties that aren't particularly well made when you could be getting them for £7.50 much better, saving you money. So it protects me as a big business, as a big company, not that I make ties, and it stops the competition. So there is a lot of competition in the acting industry, Anna, but for me, again, what I love about it and what I say to everybody, and I say this, and this is harsh, right? This is just real talk, right? Bit of sassy talk, but this is dead real, okay? This is life, right? And I don't want to sound harsh. And this isn't aimed at you, Anna. This is aimed at everybody and me, and every time that we think there's competition and we get insecure about it. The market constantly changes. It's our ability to adapt. This is it. This is what I'm going to talk about. So ultimately, nobody gives a shit about our feelings. All right? Who's the one person you think about most during the day? And if we're honest, it's us, innit? It's me. I think about me most of the day. I might think about someone else for 4 minutes of the day. I might read a sad story about someone and go, oh, it's really terrible, and think about them for 20 minutes. Ultimately, for maybe 22 hours of the day, 21 hours of the day, we're thinking about ourselves, right? And our feelings. And sometimes we can feel hard done to. We can feel that the competition's too hard. Why has he got that acting role and I haven't? I'm better than him. All this kind of stuff. And ultimately, you've got to say to yourself, Ross, look, this is like harsh, but nobody gives about your feelings, all right? The only thing you can do, if the market changes and the market wants something that you are not currently, is you adapt to the market and you give them what they want. You innovate. You challenge yourself and you get better. Otherwise, you sit in a corner crying and then you die with so much wasted potential. So what you've got to do is you've got to adapt. And if you're not prepared to adapt and give the market what it wants, your business, or if you are your business as in the acting career, will go under and you will never have any kind of success, because ultimately nobody gives a shit about you. I do, in terms of I want you to do well, but if you're going to sit there and whinge about it, the world, life, generally leaves you behind, doesn't it? Obviously people care about you, but I'm talking as the industry. The industry doesn't care. The industry only wants people who will adapt and innovate and go out there and get what they want. So ultimately that's what you've got to do. And you will do that by focusing on the one thing. Okay, the one thing. Stu's here. Good evening, Stu. I don't know how long you've been on, mate, but you can always watch the replay if you've not. We just had a bit of real talk where we're talking about the fact that ultimately, and this is another thing that I say all the time, ultimately, you know what, when people don't do something and they'll say to me all the time, oh, yeah, I could have done that. I'm like, you didn't do it though, did you? Ultimately, what you didn't do, you didn't do. And that's it. There is no, I should have done that. If you don't turn your shoulds into musts and you don't go out there and do anything, I don't care what you could have done. You didn't do it, and that's it. The domino effect, yes, that's what we're talking about. It's exactly what we just spoke about. It's amazing. For those who have just joined, check this out. So the domino effect is basically the fact that one domino can knock over something 50% bigger than itself. So if you put that into a proportionate scale here, you go 18 times later, you could be knocking over something the size of the Eiffel Tower. No, I keep saying that, the Tower of Pisa. 23 times the Eiffel Tower. 30, what's that, 31 or 51? 31 times Mount Everest, and then you could knock over Mount Everest. You could literally bridge the gap between the Earth and the Moon, which is insane. But it's focusing on the one thing initially and doing what you know you should be doing, because so many of us know what we should be doing. Yes, and it says we can apply this to our lives, and it's so true. Absolutely, we know what we should be doing, because people tell me all the time, oh, I should be doing that, or I should be doing this, or I should have written to that person, or I should have been more productive. Yeah, but you're not. So you must. You've got to turn your shoulds into must. Oh, I should go to the gym. No, you must go to the gym. I should eat more healthily. No, you must eat more healthily, because every part of your life, as we say, affects every part of your life. So if you want a better acting career, then you better get a better physicality, a better, healthier body. If you want better, what have we got there, Anna? Time management. Then there's other things in your life. You better get a calendar. You better get a better schedule and start writing down what you need to do and timetable and stuff. Definitely. Who's still writing? We mentioned this on the Periscope months ago. Who still writes down? There's something that I do that I'd recommend to everybody. Their anticipated wins for the next day. So at the end of the day, write down the 3 wins you've just had for this day, and they can be tiny little things, tiny single dominoes. That maybe you met up with a friend that you've not met up with in ages. Maybe you paid that bill that's been sat on the mantelpiece for 3 weeks and you knew you shouldn't be getting around to. Little wins. Write down the 3 wins that you've had for the day. Then write down 3. Mary says she does, brilliant. Then write down 3 anticipated wins for the next day. And one way to never forget to do that is to save. I was looking for my phone. My phone's here on Periscope. There's an app I use called Day One Journal. You can use a different one. There'll be loads out there. And you set an alarm at 11:30. Mine goes off every night, and it says it's time to write in your journal. And that's why I never forget. If I don't set that, I definitely forget to do it. But do that, and then write down the 3 anticipated wins for tomorrow. So when you wake up, you know what you've got to do, and generally get the hardest thing done first. It's called eating the frog. Get the most difficult thing out of the way in the morning, and then you won't be overwhelmed. You will be much more productive. I got my what done this week, Twin? Boozies or boobies? Don't know. Excellent work. But that is a win. That is a good win. Whatever that was. But yeah, just start thinking of what the one thing is in your life right now that you need to do, that you could do, that would make every other thing in your life easier, and then do that thing. I always write in my diary the things I've done every day to progress my career. Brilliant, Nina. Good on you. That's great. Everybody should do that. Sam's here. Don't know if you just joined, Sam. But like I say, everybody, you can go back and you can watch the replay of this literally instantly on Periscope, or tomorrow at onthis.tv. You'll be able to watch the replay of this on there as well. Mine aren't all acting related, says Mary. No, they shouldn't be either. If all you do is acting related, Mary, it's going to make you a very dull person. We said this ironically, by focusing purely on your acting career actually makes you a worse actor, because you're getting no experiences anywhere else in life, and the only thing you've got to build on as an actor is you, and to glean emotional experiences from is you. You shouldn't be focusing on your acting career, and that's it. That's being in and out. When to take me gran home, says Sam. Not a problem. Yeah, you've got to focus on all areas of your life, just not all at once though. You focus on that one thing each time. Map things out in reverse, year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, and right now, says Stu. Interesting. I like how straight to the point you are tonight, says Anna. I get a bit like that sometimes. You just got to say how it is ultimately, just to make people realise. There's, as I say, that's the biggest lesson I learned is ultimately no one gives a shit about you. I don't mean that as in like no one cares about you and your family don't care about you, because obviously they do. I mean like the industry. Nobody wants to work with anybody who's just moaning all the time and telling each other why you're not successful. If you're not successful, you're not successful. That's it. So unless you're going to change something, then you're going to stay the same. Do what you always do. Have what you've always had. Harsh but true, says Hannah. It is harsh but true, but it's just so true. And I literally spent 10 years of my life in that mentality, convincing myself that everyone else having success was lucky or had been handed it to them on a plate, all this kind of stuff. So that's the only reason I'm passionate about it, is because I've been there. Like the one thing we're doing now to improve our acting career, so listen to Ross. Well, that's amazing. Love it, if that's the case. I hope it is helping, genuinely, because I do this in the hope, and I know it is because people email me to tell me it's helping, but I just love seeing other people getting shit done, ultimately, and just not whinging. You are who you surround yourself with, and I say it a million times, if you've surrounded yourself with 5 broke actors who are just bitching about the industry, you'll become the 6th one. Don't be that 6th one. I'll have to catch up. Love a good Ross rant, says Sam. Well, you've got a bit of a rant tonight. Guys, that is it for tonight. If you're interested in the book, though, I'd highly recommend you go and buy it. Give you a little breakdown. On the back it says, this is how you can have less and do more. In the one thing, you'll learn how to cut through the clutter, how to achieve better results in less time, how to build momentum towards your goal, dial down the stress, overcome that overwhelmed feeling, revive your energy, stay on track, and master what matters to you. The one thing is the New York Times bestseller, which delivers extraordinary results in every area of your life: work, personal, family, and spiritual. What's your one thing? But yeah, figure out what your one thing is for this week. It'll be different to what your one thing is for next week, but remember, success is sequential, not simultaneous. Go after the one thing that's going to have the biggest impact on your life right now. Awesome. Cheers, Warren. Warren says, sleep well, everybody. I'm going to be back on Monday, guys, for motivation and mind hacks. Don't know what we're going to be talking about yet, but I'll figure it out. If you've got any suggestions for something you want to talk about, you want us to cover in a motivation and mind hack session, post it in the Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, get yourself over facebook.com/groups/actonthisTV. Please put a join request in. Me or one of the admins will approve that for you, and just become part of the most supportive acting community on the planet. Literally, we tolerate no bullshit, no negativity, no whining. We just get stuff done, focus on what we want, and achieve it. I would love you, if you are of that mindset, to join the group. I've also, guys, released a free ebook today. Get yourself over. Cheers, Stu. Pleasure, mate. Get yourself over to actonthisTV/getcast. So GETCAST. Getcast. actonthisTV/getcast. And you can get a brand new ebook that I created today. I'm going to start putting the most popular articles that have been published on Act on This into ebooks, so that people can have them when they're not online. You can read them on the train or read them on the way to a casting or whatever. I compiled 2 of the most popular articles that Chris Stone, award-winning filmmaker Chris Stone, had written for us about getting cast and getting cast again. That's the important thing. You can go and get it for free. You just go to actonthisTV/getcast. And you can download it for free. You just type your email address in, it'll be emailed directly to you instantly. Chris is awesome, Stu. Chris is one of the most talented directors, filmmakers I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Do go and get it. It's full of real talk, says it how it is, no nonsense guide to casting. So do that, and then follow him on Twitter as well, @ChrisStoneFilms. Let me know what you think of the ebook. So it's all good. So also, 5 to Thrive, brand new episode of my weekly podcast will be out on Friday. Go to iTunes, search for Act on This TV. They're like 5 to 10 minute mini Periscope episodes, just audio, get delivered free to your device every single week. So get yourself over to iTunes. If you are subscribed to the podcast, I would love it if you left a review. If you subscribe, I'll say you'll get a free episode every week to your iPod or your iPad, or whatever you're subscribed on. And I'd love a review. Yeah, let me know what you think. Tweet me @RossAGrant. Tweet the site @ActOnThisTV. Just let us know what you think, and if you've got any suggestions for things that you would want me to cover on the 5 to Thrive podcast, then shout up as well. Ultimately, though, get yourself over to actonthisTV, and everything I spoke about is there. I know I've covered loads of stuff. Go here, go there, go everywhere. actonthisTV. If you're an actor, everything will become apparent. Awesome. I will catch up with you on Monday, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this far on the replay, I appreciate you as well. Thanks for sticking with us so long. For everyone who's joined for the first time tonight, it's great to see you, and I really hope you subscribe well, follow me on Periscope and you join us on future scopes as well. We've got an awesome mastermind group here, and we're all stronger together. Would love you to stay a part of it. Nice one. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will catch up with you all very, very soon. Bye for now.